Hey, biology students, welcome back. Today we're going to get into our concept 3, and we're going to get started on biological macromolecules. I'm going to share my screen right now, and we'll get started. So this is concept 3, part 1 of the biological macromolecules, and our objective is to investigate macromolecules and their important functions in your body. You're going to take some personal notes. You have this video and this set of slides, and there's also a supplemental video that you'll be watching when we're done. Along the line, there's some vocabulary I would like you to add to your vocabulary section, and that should be building up nicely by now. And some of the words we're going to be using today are macromolecule, carbohydrate, monosaccharide, polysaccharide, nucleic acid, nucleotide, protein, amino acids, lipids, glycerol, and fatty acid. Why don't you take a moment and jot those down? Okay, so like I said, this is part of our first unit on biology basics. And this is the concept 3 notes introduction. So the whole idea with the macromolecule, the big idea, is that all living things are made of basic elements, which are the building blocks for the molecules. And the main macromolecules found inside animal cells help direct its function both generically and for its specialization. And the macromolecules fall under 4 specific names: carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. So a macromolecule is a large organic molecule that makes up all living things. And whenever you hear the term organic, I want you to think carbon containing. So anything that we refer to as organic means it has carbon in it. So macromolecules are large organic molecules that make up all living things. And those macromolecules are carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. And I'm sure at least 2 of those you're already familiar with: carbohydrates and proteins, because those are part of the foods that you eat. Now, we cannot live without the macromolecules. And so it's really important that we spend some time getting to know these macromolecules quite well. They run our body, they hold information for how to run our body, and they provide energy for that body to run. Everything that we're going to learn for the rest of the semester and into next semester is always going to relate back to the macromolecules. And so this is one of the most important concepts that we're going to be working on. Now, structurally, most macromolecules are polymers made out of monomers. And those are 2 other vocabulary words for you: monomer and polymer. So let's look at the structure overview. The monomer is a small basic subunit. It's a component of the bigger part. Think about a brick or a word in a sentence. A polymer is a larger, more complex structure made up of monomers. So go back to the root of the word: monomer, mono, one; polymer, poly, more than one. So you want to think of a brick wall or a sentence, and these are all about putting together these little pieces. And so here we have on the bottom here this little structure on the lower left. That's a nucleotide. That's the monomer, which is part of the nucleic acid macromolecule string. Now, how do polymers get made? polymers get made from monomers. And it happens through a dehydration reaction that builds a polymer by linking the monomers. And it does it by removing a water molecule that's in between these monomers. And so it happens when your body has more glucose than it needs, and so it combines that excess glucose molecules to store it as glycogen. So if we look on the lower left, I have my first monomer, my monomer number 1, my monomer number 2. These were being held together by a water molecule. And now that water molecule dehydrates out, goes away, and monomer 1 and monomer 2 combine and become a polymer. Now you can break polymers back out into monomers. Just like you can take apart a sentence, just like you can take apart a brick wall. This happens through a process known as hydrolysis, and it breaks the big polymers into smaller monomers. And it does this by adding water, which actually gets in there and breaks the bond. Remember, that water molecule is very special. It can bring things together and it can break things apart because the water molecule is actually quite strong. And hydrolysis happens a lot, and this happens in your digestive system as enzymes break down the complex starches into simpler sugars that your body can use for energy. And so here we have the polymer, and we want to break it back down out into the individual monomers. And so water gets in there and starts to break that apart. So let's review. Macromolecules are found inside animal cells that help direct its function. Macromolecules are also large organic molecules that make up all living things. And because they're organic, they have carbon in them. You have carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. The monomers are small basic subunits, and the polymers are larger, more complex structures made of the monomers. So that's our introduction to macromolecules. When you're done with updating your notes, you're going to open up the assignment tab. You're going to watch the video on biomolecules. We do this. It's a really nice piece with these cute little amoebas. They call them the amoeba sisters. Once you've watched that, I think that runs about 6 or 7 minutes. You'll open up the assignment and complete the questions. Make sure you update your notes. And any questions that you don't get correct when you do the review, jot those down, send me a message, and we'll try and clarify that for you. Well, I'm going to stop my screen share now. And that's all I have for you today. Tomorrow, we'll get into the carbohydrates and the lipids. You guys have a great day.